let me just get a better understanding of what you were looking to accomplish. John had said that you wanted to create PDFs of the point cloud. So like this is recap, and here's the point cloud in recap. But he said that you were looking to create a PDF view and then import that into Revit. Is that what you were asking?
Yes.
So what's the ultimate goal with doing that?
Yeah, so I want to bring in the PDF into Revit so that I can make sure that my model is accurate to the model in here in plan.
In Revit, when we do scans, this is the point cloud. So the point cloud will be in there, and the point cloud is the accurate one-to-one scale of the project. So that's the whole point of the point clouds.
Mhm.
Now you can do different things with the point clouds. So like here's a section, and we can modify the view and the view range.
Mhm.
So that way you can see more information. So like right now I only have the far clip offset at 10, so it's like 50 feet. So you can see that all that extra detail in there.
Okay, so we don't need to bring in a PDF. It's just a point cloud data.
Yeah, the point cloud, that's what you're going to be utilizing as your roadmap essentially. And so if we go back to the existing first floor plan, now one thing that I like to do when I am utilizing a point cloud to develop my floor plans, you can see, you see all of the floor. You see a lot of extra data. It's a little bit noisy.
Hmm.
So what I typically do is I go in to my view range, and I just bring my view range up a little bit. I try to bring that above any base trim that might be in there. So I might bring it to like 9 inches, and that just turns off some of that noise. And so now you can see, clearly defined. Here is the wall assembly. This is the outermost part of the wall assembly.
Hmm.
Um, Now it looks like there's probably some sort of trim on the wall. So here's the Avion portal. Um, and so you'll be utilizing both this as well as the point cloud with Revit. So I typically have this open on one screen while I'm working on another screen. So in the point cloud view, you can kind of fly around a little bit more. Um,
Hmm.
and I mean you can see accurately the two by structure for everything. It's very well detailed. So I think I was on the other side of this wall here, and yes, so what I was seeing, there's that trim, there's a band of trim there, and that's showing up here. You can see that this extra layer here is that trim, but the wall assembly is actually this cluster of data points.
Okay.
So that's you're as you use these point clouds, you'll learn to kind of interpret some of that information. And again, that's why I like to typically try to bring the my view range up off of the floor, because sometimes if you don't have that chair rail scenario, you would still see that information as the base trim, and that can confuse some people as they're modeling. So it's important to always be moving your view range around, looking at things in section view. So I'll create another section. So we can look at that wall assembly here, and you can clearly see there's that band of trim.
Hmm.
When you're working with these point clouds, it's really great to have multiple sections going, have your floor plan established. And one of the first things that I do is when I import a point cloud, sometimes it doesn't come in at the right level, or maybe it's a little bit off. So I always bring it up to my first floor level and just go ahead and align that in section view and get that established. Now, these LiDAR scans are actually really good at picking up variations in floors as well. Um, so, if you have a concrete slab, like for a basement in a house, and it wasn't poured all that well, and it's really just lots of different height changes, variations of about a half an inch to an inch. I've run into that. The point cloud really picks up a lot of that information well, and so you can, know where you need to put a liquid leveler or something to that extent on residential.
Okay, so the point cloud comes in as one model and then you just build on top of it.
Correct. Yeah. It's so when you look at it in 3D view, let me bring this to these. You can see here, it brings it in as its own separate model of sorts. It's millions and millions of little tiny points that are all colorized to create that photogrammetry connection. So you're utilizing that point cloud as your roadmap. You wouldn't need to print it to PDF and then bring it in. I think that would just create problems for yourself and extra unnecessary steps.
Okay, so then what would the steps be to bring that into Revit?
The steps to bring that into Revit are very simple. You just go to your insert point cloud. And then, so right now I have this just in the downloads folder. And then we found that if you're working on the Autodesk Construction Cloud, the RCP file format doesn't work with well within collaborating teams. So we use the point RCS file type, and that works a lot better. I haven't had any issues collaborated teams. Once you just select it, hit open, and it imports it. It's already in there, so I'm just going to hit cancel. But you can manage those links by going to the insert tab, manage links. So that link is here. So what I like to do is I will bring it in, get it established, and then I might need to trim up this point cloud. Say there's a bunch of extra data that's just looming around, like over here, maybe there was some extra data or something that's just kind of just noise, like this stuff right here. And so what I like to do is I like to bring it into recap, and you can come into recap and you can trim this out over here. I can just grab these points here and just delete them for, getting some of the dimensions as well. They've got dimensioning tools, but I would primarily use the portal. So if you wanted to know what size this trim is, so it's 4-inch trim.
Nice. Yeah, I like how detailed and focused you can make your measurements. Like I was using it just from the model here into my Revit model to get some heights from the website here, and then just get the column spacing because we
Mm-hmm.
have we have a CAD file that was sent to us from the school, but just to double check uh, all the spacing. So yeah.
Yeah. If you want to, measure the column spacing, it's usually best to kind of get a little bit between them.
James, if you hit the double arrow over at the bottom right, that will make that bigger, and then you can see which one you're. So it's best to do the horizontal distance, not the free distance.
Yeah.
Because then it will lock it to the horizontal plane, so you're not.
Gotcha. So there you have 14 foot 11 and 1/8 center to center.
Okay. Yeah, so like 15 feet. Okay. That's
Hmm.
okay. Thankfully, that is what I have in my model. Um, but yeah, like to double check everything, I'll definitely do that. Yeah.
And then, as you're looking at it in Revit, so I'll go back to existing floor plan. You want to see those columns. You can see exactly here is that column. You can see here is that other column. And you can even see that this column has a little bit of twist in the wood. You can see that it's not exactly, coplanar. Um, so, this system really gets a lot of extra detail. I've been working on a few projects recently where like 99% of the walls are perfectly square to one another. And then there's just one wall that is like a 4-inch difference for whatever reason. And, it's just not square to the other walls. And I'll model it exactly how it is. So like if this wall here, this wall assembly were like 4 inches out on this side versus how it interacts down here, I will model it exactly how it is. And then I'll put a nice big fat note here that says wall is not perpendicular, or wall is not square, or it's slightly off axis, something to that effect, to let everybody know that, that is the existing condition, that it was not built plumb and square. It was built off.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't even know that the column was a little twisted like that. So okay, I can definitely call that out to make sure that that's not interfering with anything.
And it could just be at where this is cutting. Because again, Revit works in slices, whether you're in elevation or section or floor plan view. If we change our view range, put this to 15 feet, put this to 10 feet. So yeah, no, I mean, it is pretty consistently off by a degree or two. It's not twisted, it just was installed a little bit off. And then I like to use reference planes a lot, and that gets me started on aligning things and making sure that when this point cloud was brought in, it was at a severe angle. It was like at 30 degrees. So I just kind of arbitrarily rotated it, but I would go in afterwards and say like this line here is pretty consistent. So I might take a reference plane.
And I found where you can adjust that in NavVis, James, so that we don't
Mhm.
need to worry about that again on future
Okay.
exports.
You can see here, like I have it a little bit off. So I know that, okay, I'll probably have to rotate this a little bit more, 0.1 degree, or,
Does the align tool work?
not for points, because you have to remember that each of this point cloud is just these individual points. And if it's going to align anything, it's just going to bring that point to here. It's not going to
Oh,
rotate
right.
it. Yeah, because it's not a physical element. It's just those tiny little points.
Okay, yeah, I think I keep thinking about it as a group and then moving the whole model uh, on like one line, but okay.
Yeah. Now, once you do have the point cloud established, and you have it exactly how you want it in your model, pin it.
Mhm.
Always pin it. So that way, if you're grabbing something, you don't accidentally move it,
Yes.
or accidentally rotate it, things of that nature. If you're working in a collaborative environment where you have multiple buildings that are going to be connected or are connected, and you want to create two different projects, but it's ultimately one project, what I typically do is I will create a master point cloud file, and I'll bring all of my point clouds in, align them, get them set up how they need to be set up, pin everything, and then I'll establish work sets, and I'll call each each one a specific work set. So, if this is building A, it'll be building A work set, building B will be building B work set, because then I will import this Revit file into the other building files as needed. And then using the work sets, you can turn on and off certain point clouds. So that way you can manage the processing, power of your computer a little bit more efficiently.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How do you do that?
So you can see here, I have this established as the master existing. So that's the master file with all the point clouds. And then we have two buildings. We have the Kimball Mansion and then the Chubb Theater. So this is, I'm actually using two different templates as well, because this is an existing residential building. So I'm using a residential template. And then this is a commercial theater that has, all commercial construction. So I'm using a commercial template. So that kind of helps to, reduce your file sizes as well. But if I open the master existing, and I'll go to 3D view. So you can see, like, there is a lot of information going on here. We have, I think this project has, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 point clouds in here. To manage these, and this is something that this is a project that we've recently started, so I still have to set these up on the work sets. But I'll come in here and we'll go to collaborate, work sets, and then you'll just create a new work set. Kimball House. Visible in all views. You want to make sure that's turned on, and then you can turn it off as needed. And then I typically say no, I don't want to make that that my active work set. So then I'll come over to here, the house, and then in each project I can turn on and off that work set as needed.
Now you're saying, okay, yeah, that sounds pretty good. So, but in the case of the UHART file, the way to like make sure that there's no like excess points, it's through recap.
Yes. So like if you see this little cluster of data points over here, that might be associated with the ground or something. So let me, 2 feet. So I reduced the view range well below the floor plane, and these points are still showing up. So clearly they're just, junk points that aren't needed. So if we go to this, and what I like to do in recap is I change it from perspective view. I turn that off so it's more orthogonal, and then I can look at, where are those extra funky points.
Yeah, and part of it too, I figured out how to clean up some of these things better. So on the export, it won't be there as much because I figured out some new tools on how to do that. So
I think part of that is maybe also seeing, I didn't drop that down low enough. I think that's part of the ground out here. So if I reduce this view range to -4 feet.
Okay, yeah, that was just part of the lower concrete level there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I did not know that Revit had a cloud features.
Yeah. One more little trick for you. So say you have a site, say you have a house that you're going, or a commercial property that you're going to do a large addition on. You're gonna, put a 20 or 30-foot addition coming out away from the house. I would have John scan the grade out there for like a good 50 feet, do an additional like 20 feet out. And then the best practice to model that grade is actually to establish a bunch of reference planes. So I would come in here and I would start drawing these, and depending on how accurate you want it to be, I would space these maybe like 5 feet or 10 feet apart. So I would do like, I'd make a grid. So 5 foot, 5 foot, 5 foot. And I would do that all the way down. And then I would do another reference plane coming across. And then when you go to put your topography in there, you can move a section. Turn off the lock, and you'll come through here, and you'll kind of salami slice it, and you'll create nodes in your Toposolid, and you'll move those nodes up to that intersection essentially. Mm-hmm. So I do. So you can see here that this is, here's that topography, there's that grade. So I would probably, I'd set the set that to there, and then maybe this needs to come up a little bit to get it started. And then in the existing floor plan, I can come in here, modify my sub-elements, add points, and I'm going to add points at all those intersections. And now when I come in here, I can also take a look at this, modify the sub-elements, and then I can start moving these points up. Should I reduce my far clip to just 1 foot?
James, you're still there. The voice kind of cut out. Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah. No, I wasn't saying anything. I was trying to
concentrate.
Yeah. So now as we look at that, 3D. Oops, wrong model. So now you can see that the topography is starting to take shape to it, but you would just continue to move your section marker. That way you can keep seeing each area of it.
Okay. And you just put it together as precisely as you can based on the data cloud. So, okay.
Yep. Let me select it. But anyways, you get the point.
Yeah.
So, it's great for topography. If you have like drainage swales and you need to ensure that you're routing water, away from a house, and, you've got a larger site or something to that effect, using a LiDAR scan and creating a point cloud is amazing for topography. We've got another client that they have me do the topography like 40 feet out from the house every time, just because it picks up all that information. Then we know how much cut and fill. Then with Revit, you can do cut and fill calculations pretty easily, and then we know how deep our footers need to go in those areas, and what what effect we're going to have for, say, we want to walk out on one side and it's downward slope. You know, how does that all interact? You know, how much
Mm,
earth do we have to move back up to it? It's a great additional feature of the point clouds.
nice. Okay. Yeah, no, this this has been really, really helpful, and um yeah, definitely answered a lot of my questions. Uh,
I have found that the RCS file types work best for doing work sharing. So if you're collaborating with teams, it works best with that.
okay. Yeah, I mean, possibly I may need to share it. So yeah, if the RCS could be sent over, um, that'd be great.
Yeah, yeah, not a problem. Yeah, and if you have any questions, you know, feel free to reach out to me, and we can hop on and do another Zoom call or a go-to meeting, Teams. You know, we use all of it.
Great. Okay, sounds good.
Thanks a lot, Vince.
All right, thank
All
you
right,
so much, and yeah, I'll reach out if I have any questions.
all right, sounds like a plan. Well, it was great meeting you.
Great to meet you too. All right, thanks, guys.
All
Yep.
right, thank
Bye.
you. Talk to you
Thanks.
later. Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.